Okay. Hello, it's me, Daniel Hopper. Um, so this month was really interesting for me. I had never used Photoshop before, and I have used Clip Studio Paint, and I think that kind of taught me a lot of weird habits that I had to break myself out of for Photoshop. So, let's see. Learning to use layers um, effectively is kind of a major challenge. Uh, when I start, I just lines, colors, lines, colors, lines, colors. And then by the end of it, got foreground fix, chair, chair, redo, all this. So I've got about 40 layers. Nah, maybe 15, I don't know. So this one came out a lot better. This is after the critique, and this is the final one I turned in. Um, One thing I need to work on is learning what layer, or like paying attention to what layer I'm actually working in. So if I turn this off, and I just have the lines, you can see I got color. I was coloring on my lines layer for a while. Um, I will work on something for about 30 and maybe up to like 45 minutes, and then I'll look over and realize that I've been on the wrong layer the entire time. And that's, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, just got to pay more attention to that. Um, no. So some of the projects that I did this month that I'm proud of, I really had a lot of fun doing this. Especially, especially the wax seal, the bevel and emboss thing, and figuring out how to really. I had a lot of trouble figuring out how to add text in Photoshop, and it was because my uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh, I moved them. Anyway, my little text guy was doing this, or the horizontal mask type, so it wasn't actually showing up. It would show up, the outline of the letters would show up, and then I just, it caused a lot of problems. I couldn't figure out what was going on. Another one is this. I'm really proud of this. So if we go back to Photoshop, you can see the original one was much less, get off there, was much less detailed, uh, kind of flat. I wouldn't say uninteresting, but this one's, you know, thanks to the critique I got, this one, you know, turned out a lot better than the first. One of my speed paints. I don't know why, I just like that one. It's fun. This was a lot of fun. Um, I think I did a pretty good job on it. Uh, the black and white image, I'm not sure if I have it anymore. The one of just the shapes as they are drawn, or just the forms as they're drawn with no values or no, colors. I think that one's gone, but I mean, this came out actually pretty well. That another speed paint, and one of my continuous line drawings. These I had a lot of fun with, like a lot of fun with. I thought I was going to do awful, and this one came out pretty good. The other one came out all right. It came out way better than I expected. Uh, but yeah, kind of looks like the girl doesn't have a chin, so it's just like face blending into her neck. So this one came out a lot better. And I've never done a continuous line drawing before. And actually, this is my first, well, art class, I guess, other than in sixth grade when I took art as an elective and it was basically arts and crafts. There wasn't any kind of stuff like this. Uh, so yeah, this is actually a lot of fun. This is actually like, well, I guess the original would be the first landscape thing I've ever done. So that was actually a lot of fun, and I'm glad it turned out as good as it did. And then I'm glad I was able to turn it from that into that. I really don't like this. I really don't like this, but I needed some foreground stuff, and yeah, I really don't like this. I should have done something else, but um, so some of the most challenging things for me. Oh, well, yeah, is working non-destructively. So I will say edit again. Look, all this is still here because I did it in a different layer without realizing it. Um, so I'll draw something, and then if I need to redo it, instead of taking something and like masking that part of the layer, adding a new layer over it, which is what I realized I should have been doing the whole time, but I realized it when I was about, you know, doing this. This is a layer mask right here over this. This is a layer mask. Everything else was edited destructively. So I would take this, I cut it out of the layer, I cut this out and moved them and then repainted over where they were. So I didn't, it was just, and then at some point I was like, wait a second, I can totally just cover them up and I don't have to, that way if it, doesn't come out right, I can just go back to square one rather than coming into this and this is all gone and it's been morphed and free transformed and moved around and now there's really no way I could get it back here or back where it was in the first place. So that was kind of a cool lesson. I'm glad that it just kind of clicked for me at some point, and yeah, so I got to keep that in mind. Um, some of the tips and tricks, I'm hotkeying everything, every everything that I do that I need that can be hotkeyed, and so if I brush, I go to brush, move or free selections and all that. All of these, I've got hotkeys, so that kind of makes it a lot faster. Uh, Another one is the buttons on the Wacom tablet and the wheel on the Wacom tablet, as well as something happened uh, earlier last week, maybe, where when my tablet connects, it now says touch off, and I can't figure out how to get it back to touch on. But if I would put my two fingers on the Wacom tablet and like rotate it like I was rotating a piece of paper in front of me, it would actually like rotate the image on the screen, which was really cool and that saved me a lot of time. But then, I've also got the hotkey while I can't do that now. Hopefully I get that figured out. I'm really not sure what changed. If it was just I don't know. I don't know what could have happened. Uh, So the environment design thing was fun. It was really learning through experience. Like I said, I've never where did everything go? Okay, I've never drawn a landscape before. I mean, not that I mean everybody's drawn technically drawn landscapes back when they're kids and they draw a picture of their house and the tree and everything like that, but I've never done like a foreground, background, midground, uh, floating islands in the sky and satellites and torii gates and rivers and all that. I've never done that. So this was a lot of fun. Um, the the reference images on Pinterest, I don't have it open. The reference image thing on Pinterest really helped a lot because I would have had no idea, any of this. Just drawing it from imagination would have been, I don't want to say impossible, but it would have been much more difficult than it was, having something to look at and a a kind of a reference. Yeah. So using layers and brushes and filters in Photoshop is a lot of fun. One of my favorite things is editing the brushes just as I need them at random times. So I also got the legacy brushes. So these are this is one I use a lot, the hard mechanical. It's just basically just a mechanical pencil. My opacity is set super low. But yeah, so it's just a, thin line mechanical pencil. Uh, uh, what some of my favorite things that I found in here though are these, hold on, I'm not sure where they are. There's erodible brushes. So rather than it being a rather than it being like the same brush that you're using the whole time, it's I don't know where they all are. It acts like a real pencil, so you can draw with it, and it will slowly, like say the one for the sharp pencil is gonna slowly get into more like a dull pencil, so the stroke will become wider. It's actually really cool. It's a lot of fun. They also have these that tell you which way your whole, like what the tilt on it. I'm using the mouse right now, but it'll tell you like what the tilt that you have to the brush is, and then as you paint, it'll show you what, like how much of the brush is connecting with the paper or canvas or whatever. So that was a lot of fun. Uh, I really like those. They give it a more kind of a natural look and feel when you're drawing. Um, one of the things I one of the things I do a lot is if I'm using, say, the soft round, uh, I'm using the soft round and I right click. If I want to get a certain effect, I'll do, if I want the strokes to be, you know, so then it's kind of like that, which is always it adds just another interesting, maybe not such an organic feel to it as the uh, eroding tip brushes and the ones that are based around the tilt of your pen, but it still kind of gives it a cool little, it's kind of a calligraphy type feel. And then you can, of course, change it this direction and this direction. Yeah. So, um, all right. So, my thoughts on Unity and Nuke. This whole situation, uh, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of gives me a headache. It's well, it did whenever I started messing with it. Now I mean, of course, I don't understand really a whole lot of all this. I just don't get it yet. Haven't really gone down that rabbit hole and tried to figure all this stuff out. But this, like, can mess with basically anything in here. Uh, and it's a lot of fun. Again, take that, put it up here. Makes the whole thing kind of overlaid, so you kind of see what the effects are if you play with things a little bit. Uh, so now you can see that my painting has become not the painting's background, but the background that like textures the wall and the floor, and so it's kind of overlaid in a really weird way. But again, like I said, you can play with all this stuff and kind of see the effects that it will have. So not sure what went horribly wrong here, but it just seems to have, yeah. So this was interesting to mess with, but this was a lot of fun to me. I uh I like this. Um, and again, you can kind of just drag and drop, whatever artwork you have. But so if I take that, drop that in there, but because of the way the light is hitting it, it's really hard to see exactly what we're looking at here. Yeah. Ah. So then Control Z, get that back over there. You can also just plaster your art basically anywhere, make it a whole texture for the wall or the floor. Yeah. So this is kind of neat. I I'm looking forward to kind of building something like this soon. I uh I have absolutely no experience in this kind of thing, and then just looking at all of this, it's kind of daunting because all of these things are going to have stuff inside of them, and you know, the FPS controller. I was like, oh, okay. I not sure if that's a standard thing that comes in here that you can just implement it as a standard asset, but uh, the light maps, these are all really cool, very interesting. Uh, Again, I have absolutely no experience with anything like this, but whoa, okay. I think I could, if if I gave it some time and a lot of practice and put a lot of energy into it, I think I could really figure out a lot of cool things that you could do with this. I mean, I hope I can at least. uh, so yeah, I guess this is more, like they said, this is more for the final render of something, and then this is, oop, not that. This is more for like a real-time gameplay environment. So this would be more for like, oh, where is it? This would be more for like implementing your 2D image into a final 3D animation sequence, I guess. And this would be more, not this would be more like a live action uh, physics engine type thing, I guess. Uh, Overall, like I said, I had a lot of fun doing this. It's uh, it's been a really fun class, and I think I've kind of come a long way from where I was, which is this was I think the first thing that I drew as my speed paint, and then this was like the second or third, and then you know this was the result of just a, not a few hours. I put in a lot of practice time with the tablet to get better because things like this bother me. Uh, these uh, uh, these sketchy kind of broken lines, they bother me. But the final project, even though you can obviously see there's some sketchy line work here, I think overall I've gotten a lot better with the tablet, and it, like I said, it's just the result of more than a few hours of practice, but certainly not anywhere near approaching that 10,000 hour mark that was talked about in the last class. So hopefully I can just keep working at it, keep pushing forward, and keep getting better. And with that, I guess I'm gonna end this video. Thank you guys. Thank you, Mr. Wiseman. I had a lot of fun doing your class, and I actually learned quite a bit. Bye.